Hey guys, quick check-in. I'm blasted through Northern Territory there, 10 days and I'm at the Queensland border. So that was pretty quickly done. So I'm just going to do a recap of what I saw in the Northern Territory, which unfortunately wasn't much. Like I said, I just sort of blasted through fairly quickly. Lots of like World War II historical sites, like saw lots of like old airstrips, well, signs for old airstrips anyway. I didn't actually go to any of them because I thought, well, an old airstrip's probably just all gravel and whatnot. So yeah, so that lots of those around. Lots of World War II history all through. Well, northern part of Northern Territory anyway, just because of the bombing of Darwin and how Darwin was really used as a staging point and a defensive point, and especially after they got bombed. So yeah. So first day was in Katherine. Used that as a bit of a stopover, and then the next day drove out to Litchfield National Park. Litchfield was really nice there. Only had an afternoon quickly to go through it because I wanted to get up to Darwin. They stopped at a place called Florence Falls, which was really nice little swimming hole there, and then did a short walk back up to was it Shady Creek walk that we did, and then walking around a bit further, got to then driving there, but it was only 3 k's and there was a walk track there, but I chose to walk it instead. To drive it instead to Bully Rock Hole. So that was a nice little one. Lots of little pools like flowing down into each other, which is pretty cool. And then just because it was there was some magnetic termite mounds, which honestly looked a bit different to all the other termite mounds I'd seen, but not that much different to really interest me all that much. Okay, after that went on to Darwin, and I actually stayed with my cousin Lisa for a few days up there. It was she generously put up with me for a couple of days there. It was really cool because she lived right in the centre of Darwin in this apartment there. So they've got a really nice waterfront area where we went for dinner that night, and yeah, no, it was really cool. So, and then on my first full day there, I got on the hop-on, hop-off bus that was there and just did a quick tour. Well, a quick tour. It was about an hour going around on the bus, and then made a decision. Oh, this is where I want to go. That's where I don't want to go. So yeah, and Darwin's actually protected by a couple of areas are protected by locks, which is really cool. So that if the seawater surges, all the little marinas and whatnot are protected. Yeah, and then I went to the Darwin Museum, which was a museum and art gallery, which was pretty cool. Had some good stuff on Cyclone Tracy, which then some of the things in there, like a signal tower that had been bent in half. It was, you just can't imagine the devastation that Tracy left on it. Pretty much wiped Darwin out. Which, that was quite interesting reading all that and the accounts that were happening there. And then there was some boats and whatnot in there as well, some old style boats, and so yeah, walked through there. Then afterwards I went up to, there's a military museum up on East Point there, which has a lot of bombing of Darwin stuff, and there's this really quite intense like multimedia display there, which if you're ever there, definitely go and see it. It was, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And then walking around the big gun emplacements, and by big I mean these had a building to house one gun, so they were huge. Yeah, and just all the other bits of memorabilia left over from World War II, and even some stuff on Vietnam was in there as well, which is pretty cool. Next day went off to, there was a museum on the waterfront there for the RFDS, and also bombing of Darwin as well. So RFDS, Royal Flying Doctor Service, for those of you that don't know that acronym. So yeah, that was pretty cool seeing how that got all started. And while I was out there, there was actually a driverless bus that was going around. So I thought, I was only going 500 metres or so, but I thought it was actually one thing I wanted to try in Perth when it was happening in on the South Perth foreshore there, but I never got around to it. So I thought, I'll jump on this and see how it goes. It was actually pretty cool, but it was prone to slowing down for insignificant things. And the woman on the bus, who was the operator, well, supervisor really, the bus did all its own thing, said that apparently the day before had lots of emergency stops because dragonflies were going in front of it and causing it to use the emergency stop. So the sensors are set pretty high to stop you from running into anything. Yeah, and then the next day I drove from Darwin to Kakadu. So just took it easy, got to where I was going, and just had an early one that night. Then the next day drove off to a few sites in Kakadu. There's actually a taste of what they call the Taste of Kakadu thing going on at the same time. So there was a few little events that you could book into and a few free things as well. So that was pretty cool. First thing I went to this lookout, which was pretty cool. Just walked up onto the hill, well, this cliff face really, and had a look around at all the sites and pretty nice scenery up there. And then went to another area where they had some Aboriginal artworks, and that was actually really quite spectacular there. All the drawings, because they've been protected from the sun because they were hidden away in outcroppings and whatnot, so that was pretty cool there too. And that was also where they were doing a Taste of Kakadu thing, like they were talking about the different types of foods and medicines that the Aboriginal people used to use in the area, so that was pretty cool. One disappointing thing about it was, though, that there was a lot that was still closed. Like there must have been 4 or 5 sites that I tried to get to that you turn down the street that it's supposed to be on, and are closed due to seasonal closure, which was once again a little bit disappointing that I didn't get to see it all, but I'll see more of it. But no, something to do for another trip, I guess. Yeah, and then since then it's just sort of been driving. So yesterday, on the day after I left Kakadu, just drove to Katherine, which was a fairly decent drive, and then from Katherine went to Three Ways, which was like 650 k's, so that's up there with a big day driving. And even today I've driven from Three Ways, which is like as it's the three-way intersection, so you can either keep going to Tennant Creek, or you can go back the way you came to Darwin, or you can turn and go across to Mount Isa in Queensland, which is where I went. So some stats for my driving. So I've got my average speed up to 94 kilometres an hour, thank you Northern Territory, and your higher speed limits. Actually, Northern Territory also doesn't have a different speed limit for trailers as well. And I think the last video I said the Northern Territory had a maximum speed limit of 110 now. Correct, but not quite correct, because it's 110 unless otherwise signposted. So a lot of the highways out of the cities have 130 speed limits on it. I tried going that for a little while, but 130 kind of made the car shake a fair bit, and 120 was all right, but chewed the fuel, so I sort of still sat at like 100, 110 anyway. So there was that. And total, since I left Perth, I've done 9,629 kilometres, so getting right up there now. Almost going to have to go back to zero on that one, because my trip computer only goes up to 9,999.9, so it'll go around the clock again, just like the time has. So I've done 139 hours and 57 minutes driving, so that's yeah, so that's up there now too. It's already gone round the clock because it only goes up to 999 hours and 59 minutes, so that's already gone round. So yeah, yeah, driving on to a place called Camooweal, something like that. Anyway, yeah, so I'll head off there, camp there for tonight, and then head on to Mount Isa the next day. Cool. So we'll catch you next time.